Well, how are you doing? Not very good. I hope everybody's doing well and that you had a good night sleep. Sometimes it doesn't happen. But I was saying at the beginning of the Mass, Lent is a beautiful time. I think it's a very joyful time. It should be a joyful time because it's here again another wonderful opportunity for us to come to our senses and come to a conclusion of who we really are as people and what God has been willing to do for us out of love. So it gives us not only joy, but I think a lot of hope when we go through Lent and then obviously the Holy Week and the celebrations of the Resurrection. But in the meantime, of course, the readings are inviting us today, especially the Gospel, to practice those 3 Lenten practices that are really ancient, but that are so real and so actual and so current for our practices, for our benefit. And I think the prophet Joel in the first reading invites us to change our hearts more than changing our appearance. It's kind of also the message of the gospel. And I think it speaks about the heart, but I think it's more than the heart is the mind that we need to change. Because the heart doesn't think. Or does it? It's questionable, right? It's like a second heart, a second brain. But I think I shared this with you sometime in the past, that I was reading an article. This was medical doctors who were describing the actions of the organs of the body. And they were talking about the heart as an instrument or an organ of the body that helps the body so much that it's an all-loving functioning of the heart because it doesn't think. It just serves your body. And when you have conflicts and evil in our minds, then the heart has issues because there's no stability or good connection with the mind. And so when we have peace inside is when the heart is in good relationships with the mind. But if your mind is all messed up, then your heart it crashes. The heart doesn't function the proper way when you have too much in your head. And that's so true. At least I can say it to myself. Even when you are concerned and stressed out, it's going to be your heart is going to affect it. It's going to be affected. Now, when you are concerned and stressed out about sin, even worse, because the heart doesn't know sin. And so when sin is inside in our system, the heart is having a hard time to reconcile or to relate peacefully with the mind. And so that's when we say we have no peace inside. It's very interesting that the readings in many parts of the Bible speak about our hearts as if our hearts were instruments that think. But the hearts do not think. Our hearts feel, and they react to our feelings in many different ways. But it's so interesting I was so taken by this article because I never put it that way before. And you can hear in the Gospels and in the readings, they speak about changing the heart. Because I think it's about more changing the mind. Changing your thinking, the way we think, right? And this time of Lent is beautiful also because the church around the world gives us an opportunity to do these 3 Lenten practices. They recommend fasting, prayer, and almsgiving. So these are things that we do. These are things that we do. It's action. And everyone does it in whatever way possible, according to our beliefs and our faith also. The time is also great because it's also another call to see how much do we believe. Do we really believe in Jesus? Is it true that he actually comes in the sacrament of the altar? Or is it symbolically? And I think these 40 days are, again, a beautiful time to reflect and take quiet moments, go out and look at the nature. It's so great and beautiful right now, at least here in California. During the winter, more. I had an opportunity to go Sunday and Monday to the mountains up by, Crestline, Arrowhead. It's just unbelievable, the beauty of the trees and the hills and even down here, as you walk around, it's so green. Finally, the plants are blooming. I didn't see that much flowers last year. I guess we didn't have enough rain. But this year, here they are. And when you look at them, it's almost like they're saying, praise be the glory of God. It's almost like they're yelling at you, saying how gracious and how wonderful God is, just by looking at how beautiful they are. So think of beauty and joy this Lent. And so, of course, as practices, as I mentioned, those 3 Lenten practices that we are always recommended, which are great because they go against 3 very ugly, I say evils. I'm not sure if they're necessarily evils, but they're not good things. So fasting will help us to control our gluttony. I don't know if, sometimes you eat too much, or I say it now and then, I feel like I ate too much, I need to take a walk. Do you do that sometimes? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Sometimes we do that all together. And then we have to take a walk before we go to bed because, we're too full. Fasting would probably help us to think of that, this Lent. Obviously, the requirement is more like today and Fridays of Lent. The other practice that we are recommended to do is prayer. I know we all pray, but how about praying in a different way this 40 days? Or maybe doing a little more prayer? Or praying in places where you never do? Prayer doesn't have to be 40 minutes, an hour every time you pray. It can be 3 seconds. It can be 1 minute. So you can pray even in the bathroom. Anywhere, right? Anywhere. Maybe praying a little more. So you have so many reasons to pray. Violence is like everywhere around us. Shootings are like the bread of every day. At least here in the United States. No, we all know about Bishop O'Connell passing just the last few days. It's almost like a movie. I still haven't taken really a good time to reflect and think that he's not with us anymore. And we just went through Monsignor Wallace's passing, which was also very disturbing and saddened to me. It's hard to go through. And Bishop O'Connell is one of those people that you just love because he was just all love. This man was such a holy guy. And I was hoping this is the one I was hoping to be a little closer as we continue to meet in the Conference of Bishops in California. Of all the bishops of the state, he was the one I thought, I want to be your friend. I'd like to be your friend. And I told him once that it would be nice if we could probably come together to talk about ourselves, support one another. And I guess he's hopefully interceding for us. I'll ask him to intercede for me. I think he will do it. So fasting would help us with gluttony. Prayer, intensifying the prayer, would help us in our hunger for power, to be a little more humble. And almsgiving would help us to get away from greed. Most of us are greedy about something. And I don't know what it would be for you, but I think all of us are greedy about something. Obviously, you can also use this 3 practices in different ways, especially the fasting. Fasting can be applied in many different ways. Fasting would be great if we could all try it in criticizing other people. How about fasting from speaking evil about others? Like if we don't have anything positive to say about other people, let's just not say anything. Or if we really want to do something good about people we want to criticize, can we say, I'll do a prayer for that person. I'm just going to pray for that person. What if you went to Mass and say, I'm offering this Mass for this person I can't stand. For this person I just don't like. And you don't have to like people to love them. Liking and loving is 2 very different things. It would be wonderful if they came together, but it's not the case all the time. There are a lot of people we don't like, but we have to love them. And just by wishing them well, praying for them, not doing them wrong, is love. Not demonizing other people because they don't think like we do, or are like we do, or act like we do. Sometimes we have a very judgmental mind that it's just almost hard to avoid, that we always make a judgment of every person we look at. Fast, good or bad. But we always come up with some idea or image or something or thought of every person we looked at. Hopefully this Lent, we can look at anyone and think, you're a child of God. We got this. I don't like you, but you're a child of God. I pray for you. I hope somebody else is also praying for me. Because even if, especially as bishops, it's not like everybody loves us. I can tell by the, hating letters that I get here and there. Many people would like to, to really do something with us because they think we are against them, or they would like us to act like if we were like a political party. The church is not a political party, but a lot of people would like us to act like that. It's very tough. We are in the middle of something that you do and people clap for it, and then the other half hate you for it, for the same thing. What an interesting thing, right? The good part of this, and I say this because this is my consolation when I feel like I'm praying always that I'm doing God's will for the good of the people, because it's not for the good of myself as I act as a bishop. It is also, but it's for the good of the diocese. And so I say to myself, Lord, you know the truth. You know the truth. Between you and I, there's no way I can lie to you. And there is no way I can lie to me. There's no way I can lie to me. I cannot lie to me, and I cannot lie to God. So the two of us know. The two know what's going on, even if people don't see it that way sometimes. No. The same thing to you. It's the same thing. I'm sure you go through a lot of different moments like that in your life. But you know what's so beautiful? When it becomes difficult for us because of our faith, the beatitude. Jump from joy, because your recompense is already given by Christ. No. When you're acting based on your faith and your belief in the Lord Jesus, and you suffer for that, there is a recompense for it. That's the gospel. That's the gospel. So there is something to grab ourselves from and lift us up, right? Because many times, many things pulls us down. It just drag us down very powerfully. And I think there are so many things around the world that do that all the time. Just when you look at the news, 99% of those news are bad. And it's not that we don't want to know what's going on around the world, but Why is it that good doesn't make the news? And there is a lot of good in the world. There's a lot of good in the world, more good than bad. But I guess we're used to liking bad. It's very interesting how we humans are. Very, very rare you watch the news and hear something positive. Very rare. The media cuts their attention, and then they're going to make it a news. But normally that doesn't happen. If it's not bad, it won't make the news. Would it be something that the media, even under social media, we would always place there things that are great that are taking place right now? I was telling the other day, I went to say a mass for the New Catechumenal Way. I don't know if you know this group. It's a wonderful group of people. They do this RCIA intensely for years by small groups. They change the minds of these people with the gospel in a very radical way. They have also other challenging things they need to reform, but that's a separate thing. But I was telling the young people, because there were some young people in that group, I said, what a beautiful opportunity you young people have, you who are so savvy with the media, with the technological things that we are having in our hands. What an opportunity for you, boys and girls, to say something good to your followers. And so I asked at the Mass, are you gonna tell your friends in all your media of this evening today? Are you gonna tell them? Nobody said yes. And if you are not willing and brave enough to share your faith with other people, why? Ask yourselves, why? We have to pay a price, that's for sure. But that has been the way from the very beginning, even beyond 2,000 years. When you think of somebody trying to kill Jesus before he was 2 years old, it says it all, no? So the fact that we are doing something and people that don't like us for what we are doing based on our faith is not a bad thing. There's suffering, of course, we go through, but it's not necessarily bad. Suffering is not always a bad thing, even though atheists don't know how to explain it. And that's all they can, that's how far they can get. They get to suffering, they don't know how to explain it, then they don't believe in God. Oh, well, it's a little silly to be so smart trying to prove that there is no God, right? Anyway, I can tell you more, but I'm just going to stop here because I encourage you to take this 40 days in a joyful way. Be joyful. Play music. I know people say, oh, it's Lent. Stop, don't watch TV. Well, do it more like inside. Quiet the noise inside, not so much outside, because you're not going to be able to quiet the noise outside anywhere you go. But you can quiet it inside and focus on those 3 Lenten practices that are really against those other 3 very powerful evils that are the same evils Jesus struggled and fought in the desert against the devil. Exactly the same 3. And the devil keeps on doing it with us every day. So let us remember that this is a beautiful time of the year when the Lord is giving us yet another opportunity to say, I love you. I'm compassionate about your life. I'm passionate about you. I think the Lord is saying this 40 days, every single day, He's saying to each one of us, you're special and I love you. That's what this Lent is all about. Well, let us now bless the ashes, because we want to recognize, as you know, that we are sinful, that we are human, and that we need help, that we all need help. So we're going to bless them and then do the imposition of the ashes. Dear friends, let us humbly ask God, our Father, that He be pleased to bless with the abundance of His grace these ashes, which we will put on our heads in penitence. O God, who are moved by acts of humility and respond with forgiveness to works of penance, lend your merciful ear to our prayers and in your kindness pour out the grace of your blessing on these ashes, but also on your friends and your sons and daughters, that they follow the Lenten observances, that they may be worthy to come with minds made pure to celebrate the Paschal mystery of your Son, through Christ our Lord. Amen. The Lord be with you. May Almighty God bless you, the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Let us go in peace, glorifying the Lord with our lives.
Thanks be to God.